Hi friends, let me share a childhood memory with you. It happened one January, early morning, at actually quite a well publicized event called Police Dog Show. It happened in one of the larger grounds in the city, and that was the day when the constables marched all the police dogs down to the ground for them to show off their skills. Imagine those dogs, all well brushed, well groomed, very good looking and healthy animals sitting there in a row waiting for instructions. There used to be a huge crowd to watch these animals perform on that day. So of course there are these typical tricks where the constable throws his stick and he will look at a dog called Jimmy and say Jimmy, and Jimmy will go run and fetch it. Then they pull off a vest from a constable and give it to the dog to sniff, and the dog will run all the way to the end of the road and catch the constable from a place where he's hiding. Right? It used to be a big event. The crowd used to applaud every single skill that was displayed by these dogs. Those obedient, well-trained dogs sitting in a row waiting for instructions, that was a great spectacle. When we watch lots of managers or executives in lots of companies, we see a similarity here. Jimmy has been trained on how to do certain things that a constable wants him to do. Throw a stick, and Jimmy is trained to go and fetch it. Jimmy is not supposed to think beyond that. Imagine, one fine morning, Jimmy decides to ask the constable, "Hey, why should I fetch that stick? Just because you say so?" Or, "Fetching the stick is not in my agenda today." Or maybe even, "Hello, what has fetching that stick really got to do with me or my career?" I'm sure the constable is going to have an instant heart attack. In most companies, asking questions like, "Why are we doing this?" or "Why are we doing it this way?" are generally discouraged. Rather, they love people who ask, "How are you guys doing it in such a brilliant way? How are things done around here? How do things happen here in this company? How do I fit in?" Wow, man, do they love the how questions. This expectation from the organization when they hire new employees has got a lot to do with a word we use in organizational behavior called exploitation. When we hire employees, we look at how quickly he can become productive for me. Therefore, we look at what they have done in the past and how close it is to what I want him to do in my company. We hire people for skills that they have already proven elsewhere so that we have absolutely no risk. He's joining my company and hitting the ground running. Now, hitting the ground running is a phrase you hear all the time in hiring. However, look at why people move from one job to another. They obviously move to see what else, what other new opportunities they can have to learn in addition to what they have already learned. Reason why organizations hire people is to exploit what they already know. And the reason why people join organizations is to explore beyond what they already know. Now, there's a huge asymmetry between these two expectations. As a result, there is tension from day one. Most companies are very comfortable with Jimmies who are all trained to ask how to do things and not ever ask why we do things the way we do it. A lot of employees are not happy being Jimmies. They want to know why. From the word go, there is a palpable tension between employee and the organization. Employee says, "Why am I doing the same thing again and again, proving the same thing again and again to the same people in the same company? Or proving the same skills to different people in other companies? Why can't I do something beyond what I am already proven to be good at?" And the organization is saying, "Hey, let's not take any risk here. You're hired for a purpose. There is a job description which you agreed to when you joined, and we're paying you for that job to be done. So just be with it, stay at it." Now, we can confirm from our experience that this is the only significant battle going on in every organization. The battle between the expectations of the employee from the organization and the expectations of the organization from the employee. Companies justify their exploitation-oriented expectations by saying, things like the employee's core competence is not up to the mark. When that is done, maybe we'll let him explore. Or they will say, we need him to upgrade his skills in what he is now doing before we can let him go out and look for other skills. The employees who are keen on exploration have been heard complaining that the organization is not clear about where they are headed, and hence they don't know if the areas the employee wants to explore is really in alignment with the corporate strategy or not. Or they complain that the organizations keep shifting the goalposts without reason or prior notice. But all these statements, whether from the employee or from the organization, indicate the prominence of a single issue: expectation asymmetry. Let me tell you another story. There's this very large multinational corporation for whom I helped hire a superstar project manager. We actually searched for nearly 6 months for a suitable candidate. We went all over the country and discovered an absolutely fantastic superstar. We were pleasantly surprised on the day of joining that he actually turned up to join. We were overjoyed that he hit the ground running and started working from day one. Now, 3 weeks later, I was passing by the department and I asked the hiring manager, "So, how's your new hire doing?" He just shrugged his shoulders and said, "Okay." I said, "Okay? What do you mean, okay? He's a superstar. We searched all over the place to get him, remember? Okay isn't enough." So the manager said, "Yeah, but right now he's asking too many questions. Like, why are we doing things like this? Why can't we do it that way? Why can't I do the things the way we used to do it in my previous company?" He's generally being a pain. I said, "Hey, take care of him. It took a really long time to find this guy, and we don't want him to be unhappy in this company." Few more months passed, and when I was again going by the department, I asked the hiring manager, "So, how's your new hire doing now?" The manager said, "Well, he's no longer new, but he's completely okay now, because he stopped asking questions." You see, this is a very familiar story. We have a new employee who joins the company with a new pair of eyes, who has a number of things to say about you, but we are afraid to ask him. There's a huge amount of comfort for some managers when they find you, the team member, being a Jimmy. Let me tell you about a place where this worked well. This is an NGO. There was this new employee who had just joined there, and her name was Visalakshi. And the chief of the NGO called her Visa. The chief told Visa, "What we want you to do, Visa, now that you have joined us, for the next 6 weeks, we just want you to go around the hospital. Just look at everything that we do. And after the 6 weeks are completed, give us a half-day presentation on what's good and bad you feel about the way we run this place." Now, when I heard that, I said, "Wow, this is absolutely fabulous," because the head of the NGO realized that here is a new pair of eyes, and this employee who's brought those new pair of eyes will see everything through those new pair, and we will get to see things that we probably never saw on what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong in this place. Frankly, I've never seen this happen in a corporate, where a new employee was asked for a report after a few weeks of his joining on his honest impression in what's right and what's wrong with the way we do things in the company. Most of the companies are very keen that the employee fits in as quickly as possible and become like the rest of us. But every organization, remember, every organization wants to give a chance to their new employee to change things. So, have you taken your chances? Here are 4 ways to find out. 1. Why have you been hired? How much of the reason to hire you is that you know the how? Why have you been hired? Never forget. Never stop asking why. 2. Organization needs to exploit you before they let you explore. Become an explorer as soon as possible. Are you one already? Conformance and fitting in are overrated virtues of a corporate employee. Be careful when you hear these words. Play your part in pushing the organization towards becoming what you think it should become. We see a lot of merit in this recommendation for disobedience from none other than Oscar Wilde. He says, disobedience, in the eyes of anyone who has read history, is man's original virtue. It's through disobedience and rebellion that progress has been made